Well, it's 20 to 4, and the dogs woke me up at 3. So but I swear to God, between the three of them, I've been up all night, and I swear to God, I don't know how it can be, but Archie is so much like Morty. It's weird, like where it really is like, okay, this has got to be Morty. Like this is weird, but this dog is older, so it's like, I don't know. So, I mean, some souls can go into a whole bunch of different ones. So it could just, as and there is all this like precursor too. I don't know. Stuff is so much different than what people think. The spiritual side is there's a lot of complexity. And so it's definitely not this simple 3D life. And this, I like, it's hard too because everything, and you see it on so many levels. Like I see all these levels of everything. And I can see the different people at the different levels. This can probably be like this, the whole thing. This is what the whole night was like. It started yesterday afternoon, I think. It started raining. Archie started acting really weird. And I think he doesn't like the rain or something, so I had to go out and walk around with him. I'm not sure. He was acting so strange. And that could lead to Stella's crying. If she keeps crying, I'll give her some more medicine, but I already gave her some. They've already had treats. She's already been out 2 times. I'm telling you, from the time I get up in the morning, it's like I'm their bitch all day long. Yesterday I was getting frustrated. This morning I'm already getting frustrated. It's like, God damn, fucking treat me like I'm your slave. And I'm not allowed to have breaks. My breaks, somebody sees me sitting, it's like immediately. Either everybody needs something. But this fucking Archie does not sleep. It is so fucking weird. I was thinking, well, maybe he has anxiety at night. Maybe something happened like at night for him, and so he has anxiety whenever he's sleeping. I don't know. I definitely have seen some really naughty characteristics in Max come out, having a dog that's smaller than him. Like I'm really having to work on his food aggression, and I'm having all these different things. There's lots of conversations and stuff going, but different things I'm trying. Because I was gonna start feeding him in the crate, and then it was like that's gonna lead to more anxiety. Because I was like, he's got to learn how to sit and wait till everybody finishes eating. He can't go and just start fighting the smallest dog and try and take its food. And I have to stand right over him. And you drop your vision for 1 second. Like another dog needs something. There he's like, boom. And then he has a couple of things. Like when I look at it, it is like I can see the stress of being a street dog. I can see the stress of like you see people eating and you're hungry and you go over and try and get it and you get smacked and stuff, and the beat down that goes on. You know, we got to be a lot more kind. I mean, if we go and see a wild animal out in the wild, then we are all like, oh, it's so exciting. We see a domestic dog struggling, or a cat or something struggling in the streets trying to survive, and people hit them, kick them and stuff. Man, it's weird. There's so much weird stuff about people at these different levels, you know, just like people standing here in water saying, well, we need water. Like, I thought that was the problem. You have an excess amount. But see, you say stuff like that and you sound like you're cold and heartless and stuff. It's like, but what? I'll just go over here with the neurodivergence. We'll just sit here and look at all those strange, weird pattern, the strange behavior. We'll just sit amongst ourselves. Like, that's got to be my group. Because those are the people who also see like these you just look at things differently. And then plus on top of that, I have my spiritual sense. And most people don't have it, especially to the depths that I do. Most people do not see life like I see life. And so and one thing I want to say, if you go and you start listening to me and you find me annoying, you find me ridiculous, you find me stupid, you find me whatever it is, that's your sign to change channels. Go to a different one. I'm not your person. My stuff I talk about is not your thing. What in the world motivates people to go in and try and be nasty to somebody is beyond me. And so I'll just tell you, like, when you do that, it shows what's inside you. Nasty, somebody who wants to try and hurt people, bully, hateful. That's all inside you. So don't lash it out. I don't want it. I'm sending it back. I don't want your hatefulness. Keep it to yourself and move on. That's what the rest of us do. We don't like something, we just go, oh, turn away from it. Change the channel. Like, I don't know who raised you, but it's time to start raising yourself. Get your shit together. So that's just fucking disclosure on, like, when you come to the videos, if you don't like it, just move on. I'm going to send your hate back to you. I don't want it. So take your energy and take it with you. Let it ride your ass right through the fucking wherever it is you're going. This morning, though, when I was seeing a couple of videos, it was like, fuck, man. It was like too much, man. Like all this stuff. Just like watching people awaken. I don't know. You have these people like, oh my God, there's so many people waking up. Just wait. These people are like sitting around, these NPCs, these stupid ass. Just what I was just talking about. It's coming from inside you. And you don't have an understanding of things going on, so you want to lash out. Oh, they're just too stupid. They can't wake up. They're just, all this stuff. Oh, NPCs, that's right, they're an NPC. They don't even have a soul. These are soulless people. It's like, fuck, man. There's just so much stuff. And so I mean, that's one thing. I made this video saying, like, I didn't know Sundown Town was what they're saying a Sundown Town was. Like I said, I thought Sundown Town. When I heard people saying, oh, a Sundown Town, I'm thinking, what I'm picturing in my head is a town that rolls, that closes down. All the lights are off. It's like, that's why a lot of young kids live in small towns. They're like, fuck, I'm getting out of here, man. In small towns, there's a lot of small towns that just got smaller and smaller and smaller until they disappeared because it was like, I don't know, it loses its, in a community, it's important as socialize. Like, that is one thing, even it's like a natural thing on, like when that woman was showing in Kenya, in the marketplace, in all these different places. In Greece, I've seen people go live and walk down these marketplaces and stuff. It's important, even if you don't want to go out and, have square dances and stuff. But back when, community was more valued, they did have things, gatherings and stuff. Where all the ladies would make some pies, and the local guys that knew how to play instruments would all gather down at the Grange, and everybody would go down there and, bring some food, and the music would play, and people would socialize, people would dance, people would have fun, people would make fun of each other and not get mad. It was a good time. And, somehow we got away from that. Little towns became destroyed. It's part of the lure of the fancy lights and music and all the possibilities that can happen if you go to the cities. Just like what they're doing now with the 15-minute cities. It's like they did that before. Like I said, everything is repeat. Everything is these patterns repeating. And so they did that before, and it would draw people in. And see, the people who didn't draw in, these mountain people, these people have been under attack for a long time. And the mountain people, the rural people, just like that one guy was sitting there saying, and the other people, because these people have gotten called hillbillies and stuff. And to me, I would say, you're trying to understand and change your perspective and stuff. Hillbilly elegy, which to me, there's no coincidence that the guy who's running for VP is involved in hillbilly elegy. Like, it's his story. But hillbilly elegy, which the whole thing is so strange. Like, there's just way too much with the acting and stuff out there. Like, but hillbilly elegy has an important story that goes with a huge amount of the attack that has been on the people who didn't want to go to the city, that tried to stay in the mountains, tried to keep their communities. And And then okay, so when they were miners, okay, so when there was like mining and the people, I don't know, it's like they could take advantage of them through the mining by needing more and keeping them in there longer and not taking care of their work environment, having collapses and stuff. There's been so much injuries and stuff to the miners, which they have been like, you know, where does our energy come from? Before they started with all this other nonsense, they started going into other, okay, because it's like humans are more valuable as this other energy or something. But suppose they give out this other energy when they're in distress. But it wasn't as important to them to keep the miners in the mines as it was, like, because they start putting these windmills and this solar, and I don't know, because it's so weird because they have like a mix of technology, but let's hide the technology. Like we're just gonna show it a little bit. We're just gonna do this a little bit, and then these distortions to have things go wrong. I think that's why, like, if you were listening to Donald in 2020, he talked a lot about the, you know, like the windmills and stuff. Like, there's some of this stuff is like, what do we do with all this plastic? Well, we'll tell them we need windmills, and then we'll go out and we'll build them, and it'll cost the city $100 million per windmill, and then it's a funnel. It's laundry. It's all laundry, and when you get up into that system, you're a motherfucker. I'll just say that. And it's like, those people are like, see ya. They've gone very out of balance, let's say, into their dark. So they don't care. They're hardened. They don't care about people. Which, you know, is kind of creepy to me is how much with these teenagers that they have lit that in teenagers. I think they did it through technology, man. And they have shown that in movies. Yes. Forgot about that. They did show that in movies, how the kids' shows had hidden messages. That is that one. I can't remember what it is. Somebody had told me to watch it. It was on something else that I had watched, a movie I had done a TikTok or something. He told me, oh, you gotta watch this show. So I watched it. My brother put it on Plex, which Plex was down yesterday. So I was thinking, I wonder if they don't have power over by him. He is closer to Dallas. But so the show had this episode of these kids who were being formatted or programmed through these shows, but it was very intentional, and it was programming them. And there was kids that were their families and stuff. Like, that is fucking going. Like, there's so much of that going on. Like, we've got to be like, I mean, how bad are these parents? Like, if you haven't heard the one that happened yesterday or the day before, like, I don't even know. It was like, it's just so much of this fucking craziness. This one is a whole bunch of things. Like, fuck. Okay, so this one, I'm just gonna move through it. You know, whatever. So this one, she's 13 years old. So she's 13. Her little sister's 7. She's left to babysit. The parents gone off to work. So she's left home to babysit her sister. They get in some fight about something, about the toilet flushing or something. And so the 7-year-old writes a note to the parents and goes and sneaks and puts it in the bathroom or something. And the sister gets mad and goes and gets the note and tears it up. And so the sister goes into her room. So the babysitting sister decides to get a kitchen knife and a buoy and goes into the bathroom and hides and waits for her little sister to come in to use the bathroom. And then she multiply with 2 different things finished the job, did her in, went and called on herself, and they're still waiting for explanations. There could be medication motivation or something, you know, because there is all these kids that they've got on all these medicines that are fucking with their goddamn heads and goes right with this motherfucking program. Like, the shit that is, this fucking place is so goddamn creepy because there's so much fucking shit going on behind the scenes, man. Like, that is the kind of shit they do. Get them all on meds, put it on their program, get them all go fuck. And people are all scared looking out the windows. Somebody's coming to get me. They're right there. Chucky's, they're right there. Like, they're programmed to kill. Like, to go in and motherfucking stalk like that, predator, that is so fucking predatory. How do you stand in there like that? Yesterday, speaking of predators, yesterday I was, saw this video again, and I've seen it a couple times, but it just like hit me yesterday with these two ladies talking, like a podcast or something, and it was if somebody strangles you, somebody goes in and chokes, puts their hand on your throat and tries to, then that is the most aggressive thing. Like if we're talking DV, that is the most aggressive thing that can be done. Like that, if that happens, that person is every intention to kill. The percentage goes up. It was like 357% or 475% increase or something if they try and do that. And so then I was like, God damn. This is another, like, go back and look at yourself, Kelly. So, number one, did that. And it was in, right out in public. It was in front of his parents' house. And this was when I was trying to, there was so much drama. He was so much drama. It was so fucking creepy. There were so many things. Like his mom calling me, I'll be at work. His mom calling me, well, Doug has been locked in his bedroom for 6 hours now with the kids and he won't answer any of us and we're getting kind of worried. Oh, Jesus, my life was, God damn, my life was hard for so fucking long. I'm on FIFA. I've moved into vacation. I've moved into retirement time. Like, I'm out of the drama. Boy, fucking I had my share of it, though. I'll tell you. God damn. Did I have my share. So, it was a lot of drama, like when I was even trying to serve him for divorce, they were hiding him. He would sneak out the back door, climb over fences. Like, it was mental. And, so there was like, I don't know what his family was trying to protect him from. I don't know the lies he told them. I don't know if they really did believe, like, I was having sex with all these people. And, I don't know what his fantasy world was and how much he believed it and how much he convinced people. He was mentally ill, and I just thought, I just can't even believe, like, God damn, when I look at that shit with Dickie, because this is right at this moment. This is where I chose, well, he's not seeing this, but this guy, he's writing me poems. Like, fuck off, Kelly. You fucking set your standards higher. Jesus Christ. I mean, even with him, it's like I should have been like, hey, dude, you want fucking, we're going to talk about this. Like, do you like me? Because you're the one who's going running around sleeping with all these other girls in front of me. I'm not doing shit. That's your projection. You think I'm being like you, and I'm not. So, what, I wasn't anywhere near that. I was, and then plus, like, anytime I even go into any woulda, shoulda, coulda, I always get bounced back to be shown that was never the direction I was meant to go. So, it's just learning your own weaknesses. It's like looking at yourself through a different lens, but it doesn't mean that's where I was meant to go. I was meant to go this way. Nightmare of a fucking life. Oh my God damn. It was rough. So so in some interaction at his house, it was me and my brother, and I swear to God, there was a third person. And I don't know if I was dropping the kids, picking them up, what I was doing. I have no idea, because I was like, childish. He's like, what was he, 28, 29, and I was like 20, 22. See, now how old was I? I would have been like 24. So I was not mature. I was beat down, like his whole, like, man, I would get beat down and beat down and beat down, like, fuck. Anytime if you're odd man out, you're always going to be the one who is, like, stifled. because the rest is like, you're the minority. And so but whatever occurred, I don't remember. I just remember I was on top of the car being strangled by him. So he was on top, and I was just laying back on this hood of this car being strangled, and I'm trying to fight, So I'm trying to fight him off or grab his hands. I don't remember, but, being strangled. And then all of a sudden, somebody comes running up and shoves him. That's what the person got him off. I think it was my brother got him off and shoved him. And then, I had bruises around I had hand mark, finger marks around my throat. And this is where the third party, like, I don't know if, because this third party person is the one who said, you need to go to the police and show them. But I felt like I had done something wrong. This is something that followed me my whole life, that kept me in these situations. I always felt like I was doing something wrong. Like, I'm in wrong. I'm the wrong. And so I don't know, and that could be something back from past lives. And this was, all these things were to help purge it out, because this stuff gets deep on lives. And so so whatever the thing was, I wouldn't go and say, but that's like, this person wanted to murder me. Like, he stalked me. Like, this went on for a long time. I've even said, I said that I even, I had the marriage counselor. We weren't in the marriage counseling anymore. He was supposedly going to counseling or something. But he had done this test. And it was this test to gauge your craziness or something. I think it's called an MMPI or something. I don't really remember, but I think it's called MMPI. And it is like when they're trying to figure out if you're schizophrenic, bipolar, whatever all this stuff is. I don't know. And so he had done this test, turned it in. They have to send it out, I think, to have it read. And so once his thing was read, she called me. She called me because she had known me from the thing, but she called me and she said that you need to move further away from him. She said, you need to be, I swear she said at least 30 minutes, the longer the better, 60 minutes. You need to be that far away from him because he needs that much time to, she said, she explained it as to kind of think about it, because him having more time creates more stress in his mind, which is the thing that keeps him from doing it. He'll be very impulsive. Like, if I'm real convenient, he's just going to go all in. And so so she's the one who told me to move, but the court systems were trying to hold me. I couldn't be very far from him. I went to the very edge of how far I could be from him, and I think it was a half hour, which always saved me was having boyfriends. And but he would be dragging me into court. He wanted me in isolation. And so he was terrifying. And so scary looking. I could see why people from high school were like, what? Who was with him? Because he exhibited some of this stuff in high school. And so I was, and then when I got to know more about the dynamics in his relationship with his parents and stuff, even my mom read the book of, there's a big rapist over in Spokane. He was famous, and he was getting girls like off the street, like they would be out jogging, and he would get them and stuff. So when he got caught, it was a rich guy, and it was like his parents owned the newspaper or something, and there's a whole book about it. I think his name is Coe or something. I can't really remember now. I can see him, but I can't really remember his name. But anyways, there's a book. There's probably more than one book because it's really odd, strange case. But my mom had read it and she was like, oh my God, this is like exactly like Doug's family, like the same dynamic with him and his mom. I was like, man, I feel like there's a lot of people out there who, aren't having books written about them, but they are the same kind of super crazy. And I don't know how much it has all to do with destiny. It has to do with destiny. And so it's not like they can bust through and kill if they're not gonna, if they're going to. If he would have done me in, that would have been what it was here to have happen. And so it's not like, I dodged a bullet. But so I it was like really freaky. Like when I was hearing it, it was like kind of freaky. And I was thinking about my brother, because my brother is the one I think you saved me right then. And my littlest brother, who was the fireman in LA. And then, but then when the time I know he really saved me was when he walked in that fucking room. That's the day I know, because I know I was hearing his thoughts. I know. And at the time, see, when I was younger, I hadn't had all of the things where I started realizing, like, oh, I can hear people. I can hear, like, you pick up on their energy. You can hear their thoughts. I don't know how to explain it. And so I knew I was hearing his thoughts, and he was going, he was really into these weapons and stuff. He would just bring these things home. It would freak me the fuck out. And one of the things was like, I don't even know if I could show how big this thing was. It was like a hunting knife, like the handle was like, fuck, it was big, but the blade, Jesus Christ, what in the hell are you gonna do with this thing? It's like a goddamn machete. And so he had that big brute thing. And that is what I was sure. That's what he was. It would not get out of my mind. And when I had come home, because I came home and I don't know, because it seems like I went and laid my little girl down on her bed. And then I went into my room and he was laying on my bed. And I was like, what are you doing here? And he wouldn't answer. I was like, what are you doing here? You need to leave. You're not supposed to be here. And he wouldn't answer. He wouldn't answer. He wouldn't answer. He just kept laying on my bed staring. And I know, right then, I could feel, he's here to murder me. And I wanted to get him out of the house, but it was like, fuck, any quick move, that could be it, man. And so I was trying to stay calm and go slow. And so he wouldn't answer. Finally, after, I don't know, it seemed like a few minutes, he finally got up and just started walking down the stairs. Just like a zombie or something. And he went downstairs and he just sat down on the couch now and staring straight out. And if you've never been around a psychopath, like, it is so motherfucking scary. Like, don't sit there and believe, like, oh, well, all these people are schizophrenic. They're all crazy. They're all psychopaths. No, a psychopath is they're so caught up. It's like they have no empathy, a lack of empathy. They don't care about how you feel. They're only eaten up by how they feel. They don't give a shit. You have, like, an NPC. You're a nothing to them. And so, you are not only that, you're like the source of their problems. If you were gone, they would feel better in this world. And he's not somebody who would go to jail. Yeah, he's somebody who would do himself. And he probably would have done that. He would have been a family annihilator. I'm pretty sure that's what he... But that's not what happened. But he's definitely, if we were going to break it down and put, categorize people and put them all together, that's where he would be, in that group. And he would not be going to jail for killing me. So he, even though, jail would be like the perfect place for him, because he did not want to work or do anything. He just wants somebody to feed him, take care of him. And and his mom did it for a long time. His dad would get mad. It was like this whole weird dynamic thing that went on. But then that ended up being his whole thing until they died. And then I don't even know. So so I messaged my bro. Oh, because I didn't finish that. So he goes and sits down on the couch. When he sits down on the couch, I was just like, fuck. So I just sit down on the floor. I didn't sit next to him on the couch. I just sat down on the floor. This is a little apartment, So I just sit there, and I'm just sitting there just like, fuck, 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 fuck. He's not talking. He's not doing anything but just staring. And I just cannot get that fucking big-ass knife out of my head. And I'm like, he's going to fucking use that knife on me. And I'm terrified of knives. And I'm sure it's because this other past life of this fucking knowing I've been stabbed. Like, I'm really weird about knives. And so then, here I'm sitting here at the beginning of my life. There's fucking psychopath. It was this giant knife. And he also has more, he would go get these things too. But he would not use that. That would be too quick. No, he wants to feel it, he wanted to. Because that's the thing, is when that is like, they're really into it. They really want to do you know, so it was like, fuck, there's no way he's not gonna go like, here, take it easy. No, he'd be like, we're gonna enjoy this, aren't we? I'm like, I want to watch you be terrified. And so, you know, I don't know where all his hate comes from. I mean, he didn't even fucking barely know me. And I birthed his kids. And he was fucking, goddamn, I could tell a lot of creepy stories of this guy. And he, oh man. And so then it was when my brother, because my brother was my roommate, and because he helped me with the kids. He was only 19 at the time. So he's like hangs out with all these surfers and stuff. He's like, and he has a job. When he was first started working, he was, my dad owned a fire sprinkler company. So that, well, my brother, everybody knew how to do that kind of stuff. So he had a job doing that. And when my dad had already lost his company at this point. But anyways, my brother was doing that job. So he was working and stuff like that. And then he would come and help me with my kids because I was trying to get divorced from a psychopath. And then, so he comes walking in and he looks over because he's like, kind of like, I don't know. He's kind of like that all the time anyways, you know, kind of whistle, hey, yeah, what's up? And then, so he comes in all like, and then it just like dead stops. And he looks over and goes, hey, Doug, what are you doing here? And then that is when I think he stood up. And so he's standing there. I'm sitting on the couch, or sitting on the floor. He suddenly stands up. And this guy was like, he wasn't super tall, but he was big. Like he looked like they would have wanted him on the football team. But he's not a tough guy. Like he wouldn't go to prison. So then when he stands up, he just all of a sudden goes like, to me, and he takes his fist and he hits over here on the side of my head and knocks me down, and blood starts coming out my ear. That's how hard he hit me. And so I fall down, and then Jared made a move, but I can't remember what it was, and dug up and then just walked past him and left. And I think probably then he came over to help me. But I know that was that point where he's sitting there like, I know that my brother saved me coming in. He was just trying to get the nerve up to do it. And that's what my marriage counselor had called to try and make me understand. You know, he really wants to kill you. There's this little point of this thinking about it, where he gets caught up in the harder to make a move. And she wanted to protect me, for me to be further away. And I did move further away after this. I lived really close to him on this part. And I had to get, you know, everything would have to be okay by the courts, you know, it's so ridiculous, like the government overstepping our fucking lives and how they do it in such a nonchalant way. And so anyways, I messaged my brother yesterday and said I sent him that TikTok, and I just wanted to see what he said, but he said, I don't have any social media, I can't see this. And I said, oh, well, it was just something about, you know, the likelihood of if somebody strangles you, the likelihood of them murdering you goes up by 357% or something like that. And so then he knew exactly what I was talking about because he was there and he saved me. And so we were talking about that and talking about, you know, because if it was still that the guy was younger, the last time I saw him, like I'm pretty far, this is what I was telling my brother, I'm far from him now, because when somebody has stalked you and wants to murder you, they usually that stays. They don't like one day go, oh, I'm over it. No, they've locked in for some reason. Like when he first came to Spokane, I was terrified. I was terrified all the time. Like you know, he's the kind of person who would, you know, be going around in the woods watching you with infrared glasses and stuff. Like he was, and he did, because of this whole situation that happened and was he ended up being my second husband. But he started stalking him and would sit out in the bushes. And and then he came and told me. And he said, I was sitting right there in the bushes. I could have reached up and got him right then. And then he wanted to kill his dog in front of him. And, but this is just this psychopathy of this person's mental state of how they were thinking, but they came into, to experience that role. It was, some of the things where you go through this stuff, it's like, it's hard to imagine that you would want to go through that. But anyway, I'm sure in the whole sense of things, because it was getting me to look at more things and stuff. So, all the little signs, all the things are to direct you into thinking about stuff. But it's just weird because it's like people, they don't think about those things. Instead, they think about other things. Like so many people are just so caught up in all of the disasters and stuff like that. And then it's all different roles being played out and stuff. And, there is all different things. And Glamham, so she is, she does a lot of stuff about the radar and stuff. And so she gets a lot of people to send her videos. And so she's been talking about the storms and the hurricane and talking about the abnormalities or something. And so somebody, I think it was in South Africa, sent these pictures of these blue things. They look like dishwasher, the little packets you put in the dishwasher that are blue. And it looks like those, but there's tons of them. And they were raining out of the sky. And so Glamham starts looking into it, and she finds there's other places that have had this happen. So then she starts looking into it more, and it has to do with sound waves. It has to do with these chemicals that they're trying to put out. And it has to do with this sound and frequency. And one of the things, so it all has to do with that whole thing, with the poisonous in the sky. And that there was some that was checked, and it would not, what is that called? I want to say rot, but there's another word, like decay, rot, but there's another word. Just like the forever chemicals, like whatever they say about that, it's like the same kind of thing. Like this is not something that breaks down easily. That right there shows it's not organic. Organic would break down an organic. Organic feeds itself. So their interference is all this other stuff. So, when you get any blue packets, don't open them up because it's full of fucking shit that's going to kill you probably. So so those have been raining down in places. But one of the things that before some of these big storms come, all these people are like, what is that? What is that? It's the trumpets. You have all these people who are like, it's the trumpets. It's the trumpets. Jesus is coming. And so there's tons of videos of people with the trumpets. But Glamham was showing that these trumpets is the sound frequency that's going. And then another thing is that it has something to do with crystal. So this is where I'm saying, okay, so before, let's say they saw the miners as a resource, like, well, we can work these guys to death, make them go in and get this coal, and then we'll sell it to the people, and then we'll make all the money and let these help people fucking, because they turned them into, that's where they started the opioid addiction. So you can watch the Hillbilly Elegy will show you the impact, but also Dope Sick shows you of coming in from the doctor's perspective, because they came in through the doctors pushing, because these people, they're all crippled up and like they work, the hard workers. Let's go for them. Let's see what we can do with the hard workers, and then get the doctors to get, like, they're saints. They're saving these people, but really they got them all addicted. And that's why like West Virginia has got the most addicts of all the different places, or all these kinds of places. So they did that stuff on purpose, and it's more of these attacks on the mountain people. Because it's like the mountain people refuse to come in and participate in their system. It's like, you don't want to come be in our 15-minute system, we're our 15-minute city, the murder's going to blow you up. That's what they're doing. It's like the mountain people, and there's mountain people who have been up there a long time. Like, I know that thing with the feral people, and when they showed that in that Wrong Turn movie, they showed it as like there's these Viking kind of people back there, but I know there's feral people back there, and they're cannibals and stuff like that. There's there's different kinds of, like, what we would different kinds of like, I mean, that's a different kind of reality. That's not like a different kind of being. It's not like the same kind of human being we are. You know, that's why it's realms and realities. Oh, motherfucking yeah. God, I forgot about this. Okay. So this was a video somebody was showing. I saw this yesterday. I almost recorded after this one because I was like, I was jacked. So this is a show. It's a movie or a show or something. And somebody was showing this clip. It's somebody who obviously is, you know, the maps perplex them as that they do I. And so so this guy was talking to this other person. He has this big map up, and he goes, "Okay, so here is shows. I'll probably get it off on what places, but it was something like this shows Greenland, and it shows Africa, and right here it looks like Greenland and Africa are about the same size, right?" And the person's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, would it surprise you to find out that Africa is, I don't know, 140 times the size of New Zealand?" That's where I'm going to be off because it could have been like 10 times the size or whatever. I don't remember. And so changing it, shrinking it, it changes the map dramatically. So this goes really small when it starts showing the real sizes of things. See, they lie about all this stuff. So then they said, and would it surprise you to know that blah, blah, blah is, what is it? There's a weird thing about Germany, a weird thing about like where it's at, and something about some place, and it is bigger than South America, or South America. They make it look like this place is bigger than South America, but South America is way bigger than it. Like all these things, they distorted the map and lied about it. Everything of our fucking lives are built on lies. And so then the person was who the guy is showing the map to, she's like, well, then how does the map really go? Like, what is it really? So he goes, well, if you want to know how the map really works, this is how it really works. And it completely changed the whole fucking thing. And it went up. This is what I've been motherfucking saying. People don't understand. We are not like how they show. Like, we are in realms and realities without having an awareness of it. That is why don't get scared as it starts coming into your understanding that that's how you are existing, because you got to start seeing the other realms of reality around you. We are in like a combination, like I said, like we're under an umbrella so that we all can go to each other's, but our umbrella is going to get bigger. And so we are not, like, all these realities are different, but we're all at a vibration that we can be in the same realm. Like, but this is, when you look at the map and it goes up, like, that is what I've been saying. And I've been saying over here by where I'm at, there's something weird about the atmosphere or something. There's something weird. And you know, we can't, oh, okay. Yeah, but even if you had even if you use a drone, you can't see out as far. Like, we have limitation. Like, if we go up into the air, we go up in clouds and stuff, they interfere. There's a lot of interference to the point where we can't see the whole thing to get, so they can lie to us like that. Oh, and get this. This is trippy because Amy has sent me this video, I think. And it was about this airship from 1928. And this airship would go on this around the world thing, which it was like a 71 days. They took all, it was a huge, and it was like a cruise ship or something. It went up in the air. It was like a, it wasn't like an airplane. It was like a, what are those things called? Like those big balloons. Good blimp. It kind of like a blimp or something with a holding a fancy, like it had restaurants and little places like a hotel and stuff. Like it was like a whole thing, like a cruise ship or something. And so they would go around on this thing for, I don't know, a couple months, 71 days or something this trip would take. And they would go, let's see, they went to like they went from, what was it, like something like New York to Tokyo to LA. I don't know. The way that they showed the map, the whole thing, I was like, they just lied to us about so much stuff. And this took a lot of people, and they never had one single incident. Every single person, there was never any incidents, no crashes, no injuries, nothing. And it seems like they did it. I can share the video if somebody wants to see it. Seems like they did it for years. They took a huge amount of people on these things. So a lot of people got that experience and stuff. So anyways, just their flight pattern and stuff, like with the map. But there's just so much distortion. But even if you go out, like, I don't even know if pilots, like, there's some, because I swear that Admiral Byrd, he caught on to some stuff or something. Like, I think there's some that, but then there's like nobody you can talk to. There's nobody, you're just kind of like, and then what are you going to do? Okay, something's weird. Something weird about all this, but, who are you going to tell? Because everybody else is just like, shut up. We're playing the game. And so it's like, you're disrupting the movie. I'm trying to see what happens. That's what it's like, when you're trying to point shit out to people. They're real caught up in the storyline, and they don't want to hear it. And so that's why I say it's like something with our souls. Our challenges are, seeing what other people don't see, not having anybody to talk to about it, like, is weird. And when you try and tell things to people, they just think you're so weird, or you're so this, you're so that. And it's like, but the way you think that is because it's how you perceive. It's the way you box it in. It's like how your perception of me does not make me who you think I am. It's like how you see things. So, if somebody, like, one thing is such a huge one right now. All these people are like, hey, you're racist, you're racist, you're racist, to all these different people. It's like, it's just like a thing. It's like, people don't even have to know you. Don't have to know anything about you or anything, but, well, you're racist. Oh, you must be, you are, if you support any conservative stuff, they're so brainwashed into thinking that you're a racist, and then they believe it. Even people who know you. It's like, it's so absurd. It's so weird. That was something that really blew my mind. Like, people who know you, suddenly they're like, well, you're a racist. Like, when have you ever known me to be a racist? And suddenly if I say, well, I'm going to, all the way back in 2020, I'm like, well, I'm going to, no, 2020, I said no. 2016, that's weird. How does time work? 2016, I wrote in Bernie. 2020, I definitely would have picked Donald. Is that, oh yeah, so that would have been when we were picking Joe or Donald, right? But then they just put Joe. So, yeah, it must have been then. And it was this one then where I was like, I'm never doing this again. Like, I saw enough through those two where I was like, this is some bullshit. These motherfuckers just cheat. Like, this is real. We're not really putting who we want. Like, we really want this, and they say they're going to do this. No. Even when I was a kid, I could see that. It was like, they just say whatever to get in office. They don't do it. They don't do any of the stuff they say they're going to do. And you know what? Even take it to, because that's how absurd shit's got to get. We got to see the absurdity behind it all. Is, come on. God damn. It just is mind-blowing when they sit here and say, like, the stuff that they do, they blame it on other people, and the people just go along with it. And her to sit there and try and say, like, this border crisis thing, and it's all him, and she's going to get in, she's going to fix this. It's like, it was fixed. You guys did it. What the fuck are you talking about? It's like, what? But see, the people who believe it and go along with that storyline, they're going to get smack dab shit right in the face of being like, well, you don't even look into things. You don't pay attention. You just believe whatever you're told. Like, I don't know what they're here to learn and heal, but it's going to hit them hard. I'll tell you that. Because it's absurd. It's motherfucking absurd. I can't even believe. Like, it just pisses you off. And see, that's the kind of thing where my mom would sit and watch and get her blood pressure up and get so pissed off. I hate those motherfuckers. And it's like, you gotta just be like, turn it off. You gotta turn. You gotta be like, okay, you have the awareness of what's going on, but you don't have to sit there and just keep taking them like they're just smacking you in the face with their dick over and over. It's like, yeah, oh, I've seen it. I'm seeing your dick. I'm looking over here now. Like, we know who the fucking assholes are here. And there's people who don't. And those people who don't, it's not for us to sit there and, you know, like, keep trying to get them to see. Or there is people that is their roles that are out there trying to point these things out, point these things out, point these things out. And they're all kind of stuck at these different levels of pointing out these certain things. But it's kind of like this role. It's kind of like the energy, like along the path in certain parts. There's people to keep people going. Go. See? Go that way. You know, it's like this energy movement. So these different people play these different roles. It's not like, you know, like, well, they're just so stupid. They're so stuck, you know, because they're all talking about things that are valid. But there's like, you know, there's a huge amount of people who are just really, you know, the 15-minute cities. And then there's more to this thing with resources and courses and stuff. There's more to it, I guess, with Asheville, and it's not even just the lithium. It's, I think that there's a lot of crystal. Quartz crystal seems to be an important thing that they want to get. And so I don't know if there's certain areas or what, but it's all about resources, just like over in Hawaii, like all these different places. Alaska, they've been attacking all these different places. And then it does go in alignment with somebody was saying, let's put the 15-minute cities over where the disasters are. I mean, that was already when the fires were happening over by Spokane. And then I found out that that's already blocked in for a 15-minute city. Then it was, they are doing that. They're hurting us. HERD, not just HURTING. They're not just, they're HERDING. So there's two things, because they're doing both, but they're definitely controlling our movement into precise places. And it's wild how over there, and it is so much of an attack on the Appalachia, and where people are trying to get around and go over there. And another thing that's weird too is, look at how, you know, the whole place is falling apart, and there's still people trying to drive through this and get to work. It's like, when do people stop? When do you just remove the batteries? Like, when do you just quit going? And so so this person they're talking to, these are two people from the place. And so one's talking to one who's right over near the place. Like, she's got to get to work. And her drive that usually takes her 40 minutes to get to Asheville to her job or something is, it took her 2 hours. But she explains this totally treacherous drive that is insane. That I can't even believe some people are going and doing this. Like, the roads are washed out. There's trees everywhere. You're slipping and sliding like you can fall right off the cliff. I gotta get to work. The power lines are down everywhere. And she said dead bodies everywhere. Wildlife, domestic pets everywhere. Humans, just dead people just everywhere. And she said it's horrifying. Some of them are just looking right at you. And so it's like a nightmare. And then it's like, but people just drive right through this nightmare and think, well, I gotta get to work. It's like, when do people, like, this is to stop us in our tracks. This is to get us to reprioritize, to see, like, I mean, right there, the absurdity. Like, you're driving past that, you're going through this horrific thing for 2 fucking hours. And sliding off the road, you could go off this cliff, there's trees blocking, you're following other people to try and make sure that you can even get through on parts. It's like absurd what people put themselves through to get to work. All I get to work. Well, I gotta have a paycheck. Well, I gotta have this. I gotta have that. And I have seen people saying, because their stores are just being wiped out, and I don't know if it is because they're trying to take supplies to these people, or it is because people now are freaked because of all the stuff about the port thing. And the port thing is going to be bigger, and especially because there's people coming out and saying these people make $35 to $55 an hour. This is not about money. It is it's about like, working conditions, and people are saying that there's there's all sorts of stuff going on with the things, and they don't want to be involved or something. I don't know. It's all a part of the disclosure. I think it's all a part. There's no accident in this time of disclosure. Suddenly the port is, and you gotta see like the people who own these ports, these things and stuff, the people who employ these people, they want this to be this crash to go. They want for us to not be able to get supplies and panic and stuff. So you got a whole group of people who are panicking and trying to hurry and go get supplies. But I saw this one woman who was saying to the people in her house, of course she's doing it, but because everything is videotaped by everybody. The weirdness of that is just, people just don't even see. Like, it's so motherfucking weird. It's so motherfucking weird to be walking up to people all the time with your camera in the thing, God, it's weird. So, and it just is like the regular thing. Just like, oh, this is just completely normal. Mother, what do you have to say about the son? What do you want? Oh my God, it's so fucking weird. So let me think, because I'm going off on the fucking weirdness of that, how much it weirds me out. It's so fucking weird. It's weird, like, to me, like somebody walking around with a ventriloquist dummy and keeps talking through it, and you keep telling them to stop doing it, and they won't. It's weird. It's weird. Like, people have really, like, detach. Like, get your shit together. Like, start going out without it in your hands and see. Like, try, like, I don't know, like a pacifier or something. Like, what? It is weird. It's weird. And there was people who stayed to try and go viral through these things. One of the guys, I guess he was trying to do the hurricane in a tent, and his last part of his life or something was being washed away and him screaming. Who knows if he's been found or what, what the hell. It could have been all like his part of his show for, oh, fuck. I guess this stuff is so fucking weird. God damn it. It's not, and where does it come from? It comes from other people. It's like people keep making these weird ass choices. They make weird ass choices because their values and priorities are jacked up. They're screwed up. And anyways, so let me think what I was going to say before. So the people, it's so weird. All many times that always goes reset the people. Okay, so the people, so I am really lost on this part. It's like, okay, so the people being more dedicated to their job than their own safety. And I mean, and then it's the same kind of situation where, those people waist deep in water, just keep on waiting, until work says that we can go, instead of standing up and saying, fuck off. I don't feel like drowning today. See ya. And, but people, like, I don't know. I don't know. It's like their dedication to, it's their lessons. Like, some of them are just like, what? That is so weird. But, I can't even get over this woman driving through all that. And Donald went to someplace and was with the people. People are hugging him, and he's giving food and water and stuff. I'm sure he's bringing lots of supplies because he's got to build his reputation up as these other ones are being destroyed, because there's all these people who believe he's a rotten son of a bitch when he's not. And these other people are. And then they keep trying to say, but he is. And it's like, no, y'all are monsters. Like, I mean, at the same time, like, all this stuff is none of this is happening just by, organically. Like, it is happening organically, but it's like, it's it's set in stone. Like the things that are going, it's like synchronized events. So for there to be dock workers going on strike at the same time, people are finding out about all these people coming in there. They've even, some about Diddy doing a video dancing around in one of those fucking places. It's like, what do you go in the red rooms also? And, hey, let's party in the red room tonight. It's like, fuckers. Like, you fucking... These people who have no compassion or empathy, especially for a screaming child, fuck off. Fuck the fuck off. I was like, oh, fuck off. I don't even... Archie, he does some little scream. If you've ever heard those French bulldogs with their screaming, I can't even fucking handle that. Archie, that's how he cries. And he cries like that sometimes. So this screaming, I can't. Like, these people are just fucking monsters. But anyways, the attention to the dogs. And then is going to be... they want to attack on the supply chain. They want to fuck us on resources, but supposedly, like some of these big accounts, like Q accounts or whatever, like Ezra, Ghost, or there's a lot of these big accounts that have been around like since I was back on 2020 on Twitter when there started being all this. There was Q stuff before I ever saw anything about it, and so there's all these people talking about that stuff, and they're saying that there is all these supplies, like there's all this good food or water or something that the one side has been being prepared, because I don't know, the other side plans on making it where we don't have any or something, but it's not something that you need to stress out about. Oh yeah, and the one woman I saw doing the video, she was telling her family that how they're going to divide the food. Like, we're going to start rationing. I started seeing that back in 2020, changing your way you look at food. And do I really need this meal? Am I really hungry? Could I live without this one? I mean, I just started reevaluating. As soon as I started hearing about that they were going to do all these food shortages and they're blowing up all these fucking farms and shit, these fucking animal things, and I mean, at this point, they're telling us, like, you need to dump your spices. They've got salmonella. Like, it's mental. And the stuff that I've seen in videos of people opening their food, like, what was that the other day? It was just so gross. Oh, it was grocery store bread. Like, they bought the bread at the grocery store. And I always think, like, oh, the baked goods at the grocery store. Fuck no. I've got some right now, too. I got some muffins. And, she cuts the bread, or it was from a I think it was the grocery store bread. But so anyway, yeah, she cuts it, and it's, what is this? A fucking mouse was cooked into it in the middle. It's disgusting. Oh yeah, I saw this fucking TikTok the other day. This guy, it was like a live selling thing, and it's selling this fucking knife, and it cuts through frozen bone and shit. I was like, who the fuck needs this to cook in their kitchen? Like, if you are cooking that fucking dramatic and you need this motherfucking knife, I said, I think the people they're trying to sell to is goddamn people who are dismembering people. Like, the perfect knife for dismember frozen bones even. And it's like, fuck off with this shit. God damn. This is fucking mental. God, this world is fucking mental. And so their food, there's supposedly this whole big thing when this switch happens. But to me, it was definitely like a reevaluation when I started thinking about the food and thinking about, like, and brethrens were always on my mind too. It was like, there's just a lot of things, like, and then you even get into the naturopathic or herbalists and stuff, and you find all these people who live off of fasting and how good fasting is. And then you think about, well, how we were designed. Well, you see, if you get 3 meals a day, you'll gain weight. And then if we eat more of like a natural thing of like where there's not grocery stores and we have to prepare our own food, grow our own food and stuff like that, there is these times of what is that? Like I see it like Thanksgiving, but this, like the harvest, this gratitude, this celebration of all this food. And they try to market this other thing, but really it needs all these chemicals to sustain its life. It's full of chemicals. It's all rotten, killing us. And they charge a lot for it, but it's more than that, because all of us should be taking care of ourselves. So it creates this consumption, this dependency. Take more than you need, get a lot, get more. It's just, it puts us out of balance. And so going back in and finding balance, to me, you look at like the history of people and you see, like, especially when you're looking at the people at the times of where everybody's really overweight and sick, then you can see that is a period of gluttony. And the dark and the light go together. So it's like gluttony will lead to health. These people will get fed up. Like, it's already been going on. It's been part of a lot of people's awakening, getting fed up in their body and wanting to change it, wanting to be healthier and take better care of themselves. And that's not just obese people. That's just like across the board in the awakening. So it just depends on where you are in your lifestyle is what it is that you need to work on. And they've offered a lot of unhealthy attitude and lifestyles to people. But when that's all that's being offered, people just try and adapt to it. Like Ed Harris is right. Like, if people believe whatever you tell them reality is, they'll start to believe it. And so I just saw there's this one person who does these videos, and they always are like, make like, oh, this isn't real, but it's fucking, I think it's real. And there's like some creepy ass fucking shit. Like, they have a place in the ocean where, you know, like how they tell us like a space capsule place where they've got all these people up in space living in this city or whatever. And then in that show that only got through a few episodes before they pulled it off, because I think it's fucking real as fuck, is that them having these people, and they told them they're out in space, and these people are all there and they're trapped from back in the 50s. So these people are just, they think Earth was destroyed. They're out in space flying around. They're experiment to see if they can survive. They're trying to find a place where they can go. And they don't know their experiment, though they don't know. And they're just trying to, they think that they are survivors from a disaster that happened on Earth. And so then they, and now they've got, you know, where they've been in there so long, people have had kids. Like, it's a whole world that is built inside this place. And show, they're out in space, you know, and they look out the windows and stuff like that. But in reality, they're in a giant warehouse and they're being watched by CIA and these people, like these, I don't know, probably like NSA or something. That's why NSA like turned on itself, is like, because you know, there's always the divide between morals and immoral and morals. There's the battle of between light and dark. And when you have morals, it's a battle. And the people who don't have any morals, they will fight you for it. And so you can't, you know, in this place has been so immoral. So, whatever, whoever all is involved, scientists, you know, now, who knows, and just come up with letter agencies, or just the Yahtzees of fucking people. And so they, in this story that this guy was saying in this project, because they all have names and stuff, and there's a lot of people who are reading all of these kinds of things, so I don't know, but this was Project something. I can't remember the name of it. I can share the video, because he's done a few. And all of them are Truman Show. Like, they literally have this. And one of them is in the bottom of the ocean, and it's just like the one that they showed out into the thing. All these people who are down in the ocean think they're living somewhere different than they are. Just like what we're all waking up to, that we think we're living somewhere different than we are. And in this, the way that the map even goes up and stuff, like, I'm telling you, it's in the micro macro, I see it like a mountain range, you know. So, and And that because the mountain ranges are being under attack over there in the Appalachia, and but they've always had it out for those people. Because Appalachia is a lot of like people who came, like if that show Outlander, was it called Outlander? The one where the lady time travels and goes back to Scotland, and then her and the guy make a relationship, and then they stay in each other's time, and I don't remember if he comes into hers. There's a whole drama thing about it. But at some point, they're over because they are in Scotland during that big battle, and then they come over to America. Like a lot of the people were leaving. So I said a lot of people were leaving these places to get away from the oppression of the government, and the creation of all these wars and battles and stuff. And then so much of it with the religion and stuff. Just it's as absurd as them raising us, telling us it's a sin to commit suicide. And then all of a sudden, in our lifetimes, creates suicide machines and tell you if you're broke, you don't feel good, hop in. Okay, so now we don't go to hell. Now that's off the table. Like, the fuck. And so, there's fucking bullshit with like, they change history right in front of us. Like, they're actively doing it. And they change the storyline of how things happen and stuff like that. And so over there with the mountains, and they're attacking those people. Okay, so yeah, when they came across, when people started coming across on ships, because they were here. There was people who were already here when Columbus came over here. And Columbus didn't even come here. That's what's so fucking absurd. They tell us he discovered America. You go to Spain, where he left from. They say he never went to America. He did all those shenanigans, though, but he did them in South America. He didn't do them in America. That was somebody else. And what pops into my fucking frame is that motherfucking those soldiers that look like drag queens. I'm like, god damn, they're horrible looking with their fucking smudged up makeup, their half wiped off powders. Like, it go around looking like that. Oh god, these people are weird. So god, it is so much like put on their makeup and prance around like they think they're so fucking better. And, but the villagers who don't like to be taxed, don't want to be slaves. And there's so much shenanigans. There was so much shenanigans with land and farming and taxing. And that is even like there's this movie with Vincent Price. And he is one of the landowners. And the shenanigans, man. Because he doesn't give a crap. Like, there was some people, like I've said, there was some people, like plantation owners or something, that really were caring people, that were like a community. Like, we're building a community here. We got people out here working. They didn't look at them like either, it's like, you have whatever you want. This is my house, that's your house. These are, and their neighborhood of workers, they would be out at night singing songs and being together and stuff. They weren't oppressed. They weren't being, chained down until the next morning or something. There was some who were like that, beat them and make them like they owned them or something, but not all of the people were like that. And so because a lot of people had felt oppression before. And so anyways, so these people who came over, well, it was a lot of, they were up there in the mountains and stuff, up there in the Appalachia. And then there's that movie called I think it's called Songbird or something. And I loved that one because it showed about these people who had come from all these different like cultures and stuff, and had gone up in there, and then they started merging all their different ones, and they became the mountain people. So their culture evolved from all these different, like a diversity that came from these different cultures. Because then when you go down into the city, like in New York, it divided into groups. They became like gangs. And there was like the Irish gang, the Jewish gang, the Italian gang. and they became very combative. A hierarchy developed. But in these other places, like especially in the mountains where people learned that they needed to rely on each other. And so that developed this sense of community and stuff. And what I thought was cool in the movie Songbird was the music that came out of it. And it goes back to the roots of June Carter. She's like from this thing. And so it talks about the roots of this music. And they talk about her too. But in this sing song, it's like they bring these old stories and they put together this music and stuff. And but it's this like combination of these different people. And so is this and that divulges into creating of this mountain people. But the mountain people have an independency. They are dependent on one another. So that is what they've attacked so much up in the mountains and stuff. Because those people, just like I said, man, those guys are out there like fucking taking their shirts off, fucking picking up trees, moving them. Like they're not fucking around. And they come, they're there for each other. They are like the ride or die type, you know, like they're there for each other. And that's like the thing that is like crazy on this part, where you have all these people who are attacking these people, saying they're racist and saying that they deserve it and stuff like that. And then you have the people who are having this happen saying, you know, oh, where you guys are kind of, we're racist, Sundown Town. It's like as many black people, Mexican people, like we're everything up here. So, yeah, but then you say, then you have all these people, yeah, there's places where you are not safe as a black person to go out at night. But I would say that that's anywhere, like all of us. I mean, there's a lot of places you're not safe to go out as a woman at night. Lots and lots of places. In some places where you think you would be city. You think you'd be safe. Does this little backwards sneeze. Morty. It's Morty. He fucking, his nose will start running. He'll come and just sit and stare at me. He just walks around and just stares at me. I'm telling you, it is weird how much he's like Morty. Except for I hope he doesn't have diabetes. He hasn't shown any signs of that kind of thing, but he's very young. He's only like a year or two. And he's a surrender from the people. The people had 2 of them, and then they had little kids and stuff, and she said she couldn't take care of them anymore. So she gave him to the rescue. And then, but he's not with his brother, but his brother and him fight. His brother's always trying to hump him or something. So they get in these big fights. But now it's not, Max isn't trying to hump him. Max just, but these two do get into these, they'll start fighting over toys. They fight a lot. But Max, over the food thing, that's when it gets, you know, Max loses his mind over food. And it's like, oh, fucking dude, you eat 3 times a day at least. Usually you eat 5 times in a day. And then you can run over and take somebody else's. Like, Jesus Christ. So, fuck, I don't know how. It's like you got to completely reprogram him. Get him to not feel like, you know, it's his last meal. Everyone's, I'll never get another, or I better hurry and get everybody else's. It's like it's mental. And he's just got a lot of things. Like when I'm trying to give a treat, you know, he's going to take my fingers off. It's like, dude, you got to relax. So, anyways, so they're attacking the mountain people, and there's always all these resources. The thing with the mountain people is because they don't want them to have community, and even when they've beat them down and got them to all be in poverty and addiction and stuff like that, they still, you know, they still stick together. There's some that leave, you know, like, because there's another one. There's Hillbilly Elegy. Is that? Because I swear to God, there's another one where a girl wrote her life as a hillbilly story. And it was, yeah, I think it's a documentary. Yeah, it was really good. I think it was on Hulu. It was a couple years ago. It was before I saw Hillbilly Elegy. Hillbilly Elegy is the guy's story of like the effects of the community and stuff of like his life. But the other one, the documentary, she was a documentary maker. Like that's what she wanted to do when she's from up there. And something about hillbilly, because hillbilly is like rude. It was created to be a rude word, just like the N word, and it's very degrading and stuff. And it's something about that on the title. It seems like I can't remember. Like you call us hillbillies or something. I don't remember what it's called. But so she shows stuff up there in the thing, and she just wanted to leave. She wanted to go, you know, for bigger experiences. And but there's something about the roots. There's something about the connection that the people have. That you know, people down in the cities and stuff, like we don't have connections like that. We don't have the people who are in a smaller, kind of more condensed things, they have more of a connection. So anyways, I don't remember that whole thing with the documentary, but it was really good. It really does show you a lot of different understanding and stuff about it. And when you put all these different things together, though, you see like, well, it's obvious they're attacking it, especially because that one girl who I had seen, I talked about her, I don't know, a year ago, and she was saying that her family was from the Appalachia and that they had a huge amount of land, because that's another thing too, is these people have these huge amounts of land. And I don't know if it was way back when the government was, because this is going to go again, but I don't think it's going to be where people are going to get handed over hundreds of acres and stuff, because you don't need that much. So but back then, up there in the mountains and stuff, I think, you know, that they're like, you know, they could, because there was something about homesteading. If you just work the land, then you can claim it. And so people would get big land claims. And then the government didn't know so much about the resources. Once they knew more about the resources, and they wanted to take it back. So they went in and they would destroy the place, like what they're doing now with water, but they would destroy it with fire or whatever. And then they say, well, the land's not, you can't, it's dangerous now. And then they go in and take it, and they take it with resources and stuff. And that's what everybody's saying that they're about to start doing over here in Nashville. But it's weird how everybody starts focusing on these resources and stuff, but then there's all this other level to it too, of with the Vanderbilts and this Hunt, and then the launder system of moving land around, giving it to the government making it government lands, and then to take the government lands, and then all of a sudden they're going to use them for their benefit. Like, it's just so fucking shady, all their shit that they do with this stuff. So and they're doing it in front of us so that we can wake up and see and understand, because there's going to be more of this is going to be coming out about, because this has been what they do, these resets and stuff. And it's so crazy when you see all these places just filling up with mud and water. Over here, I keep trying to think like, fuck, if it starts washing down and all the trees in the water and stuff, like I was thinking, where would the dam be? Where would the water be coming from? And I started thinking like, fuck, man, when they put those dams in, that was a setup. Like, that was a total setup to control the water. Because the one where it showed this beautiful town along this river, and it's named after the river or something, because this hit a whole bunch of places, not just a couple. Like, there's a whole bunch of places that are destroyed, the whole fucking side of a mountain gone, a whole bunch of towns and shit. So let me think back what I was saying. So they took down the side of the mountain, destroying all of this place. And part of it is because they want to kill us all off, for one thing. And then, because the reset thing and all this sand. Oh, okay, so, oh, yeah, okay, so the dams. So, okay, so that town who has a river running through it, then, when the dams broke, and I don't know if they were at the first because there's three. So one broke, and then it hit into the next one, it broke, and then it hit into the next one, it broke. But the amount of water that came, why don't we just leave the rivers running naturally? Why are we holding all this water back? What is the motherfucking point of that? And then they tell us, well, we're going to just let it out little by little. Like, they give us all these storylines, but really, when you think about it, it's like, what the fuck? Why wouldn't we just, like, this river's just running through the town? Why do we need to go? Maybe the river would have gotten a little bigger, but there's something with their controlling this water. It's like the same thing of wanting to control our movement. They want to control all this stuff so they control the movement of the water. And so these dams that they've got going, they're going to be busting them all up and flooding places. And it's just as weird because then you get all this extra water because they're holding it back. And then there's other ways too. Like if you had a thing that was just like too much runoff, the river's way too big, then why wouldn't you go and do a lake or something? Why wouldn't you go make a man-made lake, a reservoir? But then they put these dams. It's just, I don't know. Especially when you go and you see like all these dams are in disrepair. All these railroad tracks are in disrepair. All they talk about is infrastructure and the money and stuff. And then they're sending over these billions. Like now after Joe just sent over $535 billion to Taiwan, you know, as this whole place is being destroyed, people are starving, people are like all this shit going on. But, you know, Taiwan needs the money for their war. You know, they need war money. And then Kamala, her fucking, well, as soon as I get in, I'm going to send another 535 to wherever the fuck she said. And also it was like 160 missiles went from, some of these things you just know they're going to attack. Let's Leb on. That's weird. Like if I didn't say it slow, I wouldn't have heard that anon. And so that just seems like disclosure, just for them to have the little anon at the end. I don't know. They were bombing, and supposedly this Neferati guy, whatever the fuck, he's been damaged or something, and they've hurt him or killed him or something and all this stuff. And so this is going back and forth. At the same time, fucking China or Russia decided to blow up fucking Ukraine. Like, this is such bullshit. You know, so it's all this fucking big stage show fucking bullshit. But when I was seeing all of that, I was like, okay, so it sure seems like they're going to go in on the Hawaii moment. And we're going to all get alerted that there's missiles incoming, nukes, take cover, shelter in place, whatever the fuck. And so whatever goes. And then they can still have an explosion. Even if it's not a nuke, they can EMP, they can, you know, with their frequency and stuff. So shit can still go down. Buildings can, even if it's not nuked, they can still knock shit down. So it's going to be whatever goes. You know, it's hard to say because they've got so many things going. We've got the money crashing, and we've got so many things going. And I'm sure to them, this is very exciting because all of this is going and it's just going to all just go boom and all be together. And it's probably exciting because there's so much action happening at this point, and everything is like sped up. Fuck, I don't see how anybody can't feel like how fast things are moving right now. Like it feels like, fuck, put on my seatbelt. So anyways, the attack on the people in these areas and them trying to take the land, grabbing, that one girl was saying, so her family owned all this side of this mountain or something, and then the government came in and took it and took their land and stuff. So because see the value, like they make like these hillbillies are a bunch of backwoods people, but they're all capable. They are have compassion for one another. They have land. They are independent. That's what they don't like. That's what these people don't like, is these people are independent. They don't need them. The rest of us, we all get convinced we need them. We need that job. But you got people over there who are still willing to drive through fucking disaster for 2 hours to try and get to a goddamn job. It's like so motherfucking mental. of what people will put themselves through. That's what I've witnessed through all of this stuff, is like people are just so beat down. They're like the woman who is in this domestic violence situation who just can't get out of it. She just keeps blaming herself, taking it on her own. And that is what they've gotten humanity in that space where everybody is the victim. Everybody just whining and feels sorry for themselves. And then you got the do-gooders or the narcissists, the ones that, trying to pump themselves up. But see, the thing is they, a lot of people have a nice heart, but you don't, it's so much about self-gratification. Like, that's why we've all got to find so much balance. Like, even if you're out trying to save the world and do everything and do all this stuff, you got to stop and be like, who am I doing this for? Am I doing it for them, or am I doing it so I can feel good about myself? Which is valid, but you've got to still find balance. Like, you can't run from thing to thing to thing, trying to feel good. I'm going to go save these ones. I'm going to run over and save those ones. I'll be over there in a minute. And you're going to drain yourself. You're not taking care of yourself. So you are, like, there's more to this balance. There's more to the mind, body, spirit. You got to pull it all in. It's all got to be like when you have like a level, when you're trying to do the level and you set it on something and it keeps showing all these different things. That is what you've got to get, that kind of balance in yourself. You got to level out all of your emotions, your physical, it's your mind, body, spirit. You got to put it all in together. And it's a combination effect of how to approach life. And it all goes together, So you got to put it together, like read into like what your body is telling you and stuff like that. Let me think. I don't know if I was saying all the stuff I was going to finish saying about that, because I wanted to say something else about this other thing. Oh yeah, I guess it is kind of the same, because it is like all these people, or there's so many people who want to rush over and save all these other people. But if these people have got issues and got things going on, because there's just this thing, and I'm not saying, okay, because it's like this stuff happens, and then it's kind of like everybody's supposed to go and save them, but then all these things keep happening, and it's not designed for us to be like, oh, well, these people all have to save these people. It is, all these people have to learn how to save themselves, but it's like a group. So it's like a soul group. So there can be some people in it who are, they're bringing stuff to them, like it's a soul group. But so many people, like, get us out of our thing, and they get us to feel pressure, like you got to send money, you got to do this, you got to do that. And then, the next disaster happens, and the next disaster happens, and the next one, and the next one. And if you are trying to save them all, see, then it's like the world becomes a vampire. It's sucking the life out of you, and you're just trying to be a good person and do all this stuff, They're all suffering. But are you stopping and looking at your own? Are you thinking, because it becomes a distraction when you're out there just trying to save the world. So you got to be able to take that time to save yourself and look at yourself in a hard way, face all of your stuff so you can heal it, so you can let go, because that's what this time is about, is to get a look at yourself. And people have got to look at themselves like, well, I'm just trying to save everybody, or the two poles, and there's everything in between. But is the victim and the save, like the savior it's very ego driven. It's very much like the rest of the world needs me, it's like, but you got to let people learn how to save themselves, because it's like, like Jesus saying, you don't just give them the fish, you teach them how to fish. And so that is what we're in this process. And each soul has its own thing. Like, some people are very resistant. They just want to, cry and feel sorry for themselves. They're beat down. The world's too hard. It's just another motherfucking thing. And like, there's this video every single day. I see this video This guy, every day, I think he does it. Some homeless guy, and he just lays there with his dog and says another day that they haven't eaten and they're just desperate. They need somebody to give them food and stuff. Like, if you are in that position, like, I, I don't know. Like, there's a difference. There's some of us who are programmed to save ourselves. And it just, if something happens, we pop back up. Something happens, we're going to get back up. Something happens, we're going to get back up. And then there's other ones that things just beat them down and break them down. But so, like, if somebody who is in that state of mind, the victim mentality, tries to talk to somebody who is like, to me, I'm going to see them like heartless. I'm going to see them like, you got to just get up. You got to just, that's how you pull through. And, you know, it's to save yourself. But then that can seem really heartless and horrible. Like, all these people are trying to go save them and everybody needs to come together and save. But we need to come together it's like you got to hold hands with the people who are in front of you first. That's who needs to come together first. Primarily, the people in your orbit, the people who are in your close contact. And that's where you start building community and stuff. Then it will bleed out from there. It will grow from there. But the people, like, to me, it's like we can learn a lot from the Amish. Like, if this fucking went down, I fucking wouldn't surprise me if the Amish hadn't already put up a fucking barn by the next morning. Like, those people figure out how to work as a unit. And that is where we are all just, like, bumping into each other. Like, we don't know what to do. We don't know how to act. Somebody come and bring it. Make it easier for me. Somebody fix me. Somebody save me. Somebody do this. Somebody do that. And then the people who are the ones that are running around trying to do it all are like, God damn, why don't you do something for yourself? What fucking, you know, because it builds a sense of resentment. What starts out to be some, you know, so nice, here, I'm going to save you, I'm going to help you, becomes a dependency of, in the nature of the relationship. And it becomes a drain, really, to both people. And but it's a way that we all have to start changing. I'm not saying that we all need to be like, oh, you guys, you're in your own disaster, figure it out. Because there does need to be people who all come together for each other. But it is more of it's more in that area. Like, it isn't like, you know, unless you hear something. Like, if you are in California and you have this story and you see it and it's like, I've got to get there. No matter what, I've got to get there. I just can't get it out of me. It's waking me up at night. I've got to get there. Then you got to go. You got to listen to yourself. And whatever's there is, you know, there for you. I don't know what it is. It can be a person. It can be a situation. It could be anything. So I'm not saying that somebody who's far away does not have a connection to this place. You got to follow your connections. But the way that it works through social media is like a fucking holler out to everybody, you know, and everybody is traumatized at this point and doesn't, you know, everybody wants to help. Everybody's trying to come together, but it's going out. It's kind of like the same thing of going out when you should go in. You should go into your community and build the community up. And in some of these places, you're not going to want to stay in these places. These places are going to be washed away. This is only the beginning. And it's very important to be paying attention to that map, that doomsday map. And you can look it up. You can just go and Google and put in naval projection map, and you will see. It will pop up. It's the exact same motherfucking map. And so look at the areas. Like, and then that's the thing, is a lot of these people aren't awake to that part. Like I said, it's all these different levels, and they're all awake to that part. And I'm not sure what it is. Like, I did see, this made me feel happy, is it was these, it seemed like a mom and her 2 or 3 kids. I think it was like 3 kids, like 3 teenager kids, and her, and they all had backpacks and they were carrying stuff, and they were going to hike out. They were going to hike out and try and get down to someplace else. That's what I was talking about. People need to join in together and move. And some of these places, they are going to be under the mud. They are going to be history. There is no rebuilding it. And then And when you're not listening, there's going to be another storm that's going to come in to show you. And I think this one has got 3 slated storms coming in to show. So the more destruction, and it is sad. Like, I mean, I know that they're rescuing. Like, there was a rescue that was done. They dug through and found a house that was in the mud with 6 people in it or something. And they rescued those people. So there's some crazy things happening and some crazy rescues, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on. There's a lot of, just a lot of weird stuff. And so whatever goes down over there, to me, is like, you gotta see, like, to me, the people who had their stuff and were hiking out were probably doing the smartest thing and going. And then I know it's hard to leave all your things and your stuff and everything you've worked for and built up. But this is the part where you got to trust the universe. You got to trust the universe is going to be replacing everything. And it's, you know, you don't need that stuff right now. And it's hard, for sure, to let go. And those are the challenges. That's the stuff you got to be working on. You know, what comes up, letting go of this stuff. What are the things that come up in me that I need to process through? And so all these things happening have a lot of emotional baggage that goes with it. So it's releasing and reevaluating. And so anyways, I think a lot of these people need to be heading out of these areas. Like, this is, to me, this evacuation call from the universe. Like, oh yeah, and there's a girl who, she is on TikTok and she is crying. Like, she's doing videos bawling her head off. And she is saying it's something really bad's about to happen in Nashville. And she's saying to everybody, evacuate, evacuate, evacuate. So I don't know if one of these hurricanes is about to hit is going to wipe out Nashville. That'll be a lot of people, man. That'll be a lot. But is the thing is, all these places, all the people have got to just keep coming together and coming together and then making decisions. That's the building community. It's building these bonds with these people. And so it is like, you know, to me, going to higher ground is smart, but but then they're taking the higher ground and washing it down the side of the mountain too. But then the valleys are going to fill up with water. Like, this is just a hard time. This is just like what I was saying. It's like this biblical thing, like they keep saying, where you got all these people who are out, you know, carrying their things. Like, where do we go? Where do we go? And the more that people come together, but there will be this part that the free land and all that stuff will start. There will be this part that will be giving back, but we're still in this part of the shedding and this displaying, like showing, like all this stuff is like setting the table, like the dock workers, that, and it shows all these different things, show all these different holes. Like, there's so many holes being shown in our society. Fuck, I've been talking a long time again. Okay, so let's wrap it up. But anyways, so as the things just keep going, just keep noticing, this is what it's all about. This is what is happening. This is for the awakening. These are challenges for us all to get over and to evolve and to make these changes and stuff. But we do need to come together. There needs to be these shifts. And so I don't know how to explain it, because when I say it, it seems like I'm being heartless or something. But it's this thing about, like, they need to go more in. And when you're talking about that on the micro macro, it's more in their community, not in themselves. But they've got to form more of a community of a, you know, build back better. You know, like, we're going to go in and we're going to build a community like the Amish, man. Those people stick together and they work together like a unit. And we can also do that stuff. We can become connected in that sense, you know, like, it is kind of like, I see it kind of like almost like we are, when we get connected to this point of this comfortable connection where we're not questioning it, where we're in this flow, then it is like it's like this person could raise their hand and this person would put their hand up to get it. Like we're in more of a sync. Right now we're in chaos. They're trying through the they keep us in this chaotic thing. But it's kind of like the lights come on and the sound goes down. It's like the things that were interfering suddenly are dropped off or something. Like if all of a sudden it was completely quiet, like that would be shocking to people. I don't think people understand the noise. Like I can hear it, but when people can't hear it, they can still, you can still feel things even if you don't know. And I know that is what creates a lot of anxiety in people and stuff. So anyways, I'll just keep on rattling on, but just whatever goes down, goes down. Obviously yesterday, the money didn't just crash, but I would still say, get your stuff together for whatever. There's supposed to, today's supposed to be a thing. The 5th, the 6th, there's the whole thing with astrology. There's a bunch of stuff. Like we're at the time of some significant shit going down. And I think it's going to be leading us to this abrupt change. I just don't know what it is that's going to do it. There's way too many balls up in the air, and it can be all of them just going in together. So we just got to see, and it can be different effects in different places because that's been going for a while. So you just got to keep writing it out. And when your areas are affected, to really get focused on the people around you. Don't just go online and start, asking people like, oh, look, we're destroyed. We're this, we're that. Please send us your money, send us your supplies. Because for one thing, there is interference in this stuff. There's interference to take this money that people are trying to give. And most people really need their money right now to get their own stuff. And, that's what people should be in these areas saying. Fuck, get out there and get your supplies while you can. When this comes and hits you, it sucks, man. But they're all, it's like crying, somebody, wasn't ready for this. I didn't know. But, we've been there's a lot of us who've been saying, get prepared for a long time because shit's going to go down and shit's not stopping. It's going to keep going down. And so as you're going through all this stuff, remember what it's all about is learning how to love yourself, love everyone, and how to have a loving day because it's totally up to you. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.